When I think of Trump and Putin, the picture that comes to mind is, kind of an S&M skit. I mean, of Trump on a dog leash, and Putin with a whip or something. I mean, it's just it is wild. I mean, these guys, is anybody speculating about what control or hold Putin has over Trump?
Oh yeah, no, certainly. I mean, we've been talking about this for quite some time, and I know people. I have contacts in U.S. intelligence. I have contacts in other European. From my time spent in Afghanistan and Iraq, I got to know a lot of these guys. These guys who work either in intelligence or they work in kind of public affairs sort of things. The guys that would interact with the journalists on the ground in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they have subsequently gone onward to work in take your pick of whatever alphabet soup organization, whether it's Department DHS, Department of Homeland Security, CIA, FBI, take your pick, DOD. There's a lot of concern about how compromised Trump is and where that line is.
Bill, welcome back to the program. How are you doing?
Frankly, a little sleep deprived. From about 1 a.m. Overnight until about 4, give or take, we were under almost constant air raid alert and anti-aircraft fire going up into the skies. Of course, not everything, sadly, was deterred. Last I checked before coming to speak to you, and over 100 wounded from apparently some North Korean missiles. Sheltering in place. I know a lot of friends that actually did go into the shelters. A lot of people did because it was a pretty intense attack. I did not hear a Patriot missile system firing off. Of course, they have the Patriot battery here, at least one, but they may not be firing it, with the caveat that this is a very large city. And so just because I didn't hear it in my part of town doesn't mean that they weren't fired off in defense last night. But if that's the case, if they are rationing their the Patriot, which is the best anti-air defense system they have, then this is the ramifications of America withdrawing its support. So it was a rough night. It's a rough day. Digging bodies out of the rubble. Children were involved. At least 2 children were killed in the attacks overnight.
How many are confirmed dead now?
Last I checked, again, right before I came to speak to you, maybe 5 minutes before I came to speak to you, the body count was at 12 dead and over 100 wounded. And I'm sure some of those wounds are not slight. Yeah. This was an intense attack.
Yeah. Man, I'm so sorry. And Donald, Diaper Don this morning, said, Vladimir, please stop. You've got, Steve Witkoff is on his way to Moscow right now to kiss Putin's ass again. Putin is apparently proposing that if Trump goes along with freezing everything where it is right now, not giving Ukraine any future security assurances, and forbidding membership in NATO, that Putin will allow him to build $1 billion Trump Tower in Moscow.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. He does. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't. He never seems to crack. I mean, Vlad, please stop. Is about the harshest language I've seen him, put against the guy who's killing people daily here, and who's a war criminal. And has been indicted at the International Criminal Court for forced ethnic cleansing and taking children away. So please, Vlad, stop. That's the harshest you can do. You know, and Witkoff going to talk to Putin in deference to him, but it doesn't seem there's any real communication going on with Zelensky. There was supposed to be a major meeting this week in London, which, you know, Marco Rubio was supposed to attend, and then he didn't. So the whole thing was kind of downgraded. Right. You know, last night's attack was particularly horrific, and the response around Europe has been really adamant. I mean, I saw Macron, French President Macron, saying, you know, how can Zelensky negotiate with somebody who is every single night is sending munitions over here when there's supposed to be some sort of peace process going on? But apparently the man in the Oval Office is just going to give Vladimir Putin a slap on the wrist. Yeah. And also apparently still very much open to the idea of just letting Russia take the territories that it's stolen by force of arms, which only sets the situation for a further war, because they're right poised to take more land. They can lick their wounds, rearm, refit, and come back for a second try. Yep. Now, this is why the Ukrainians are so worried about losing Crimea. Yeah,
and that's clearly their intention. I mean, that's why they're insisting that we offer no security guarantee. It's just, when I think of Trump and Putin, the picture that comes to mind is, you know, kind of an S&M skit. I mean, you know, of Trump on a dog leash, you know, and Putin with a whip or something. I mean, it's just, it is wild. I mean, these guys, is anybody speculating about what control or hold Putin has over Trump?
Oh, yeah, no, certainly. I mean, we've been talking about this for quite some time, and I know people. I have contacts in U.S. intelligence. I have contacts in other European, you know, from my time spent in Afghanistan and Iraq, I got to know a lot of these guys who work either in intelligence or they work in, you know, kind of public affairs sort of things. The guys that would interact with the journalists on the ground in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they have subsequently gone onward to work in, you know, take your pick of whatever alphabet soup organization, whether it's, you know, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, CIA, FBI, you know, take your pick, DOD. There's a lot of concern about how compromised Trump is and where that line is, and obviously the Ukrainians are wondering that as well. So, you know, he just doesn't seem to be willing to ever do anything that's going to upset Vladimir Putin. And it does make one wonder why that is. Is it simply that he sees the world the same way? Does he have some sort of deference because he wants to be a dictator himself? Or indeed, does somebody have something compromising over him, whether it's financial, whether it's some sort of interpersonal thing? I mean, there's lots of reason you can get leverage over a guy. Sure. But the fact that a man in the Oval Office is regurgitating Moscow's talking points and seems to be willing to leave, you know, the West, the collective West, in a compromised position so that Moscow can you know, get away with this scot-free, should be cause for concern for all of us.
Yeah,
you know?
and then Rubio, whose parents are Cuban refugees. I mean, he's always been this kind of anti-communist, anti-Russia, free speech, you know, democracy for all of us. And he's completely changed his tune in order to keep his job as Secretary of State. It's really pathetic. Phil, I'm curious. Yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, it was reported that Russia's largest drone factory got blown up by the Ukrainians. Are the Ukrainians having some victories here?
Oh, left, right, and center. Their drone technique and their capacity, their tactics, their strategy. Yeah, you're referring to the explosion of a drone manufacturing, but also apparently an ammunition depot. You know, the two probably going together, and it almost looked like a mini nuke. It was this enormous mushroom cloud. You know, they're producing 40% of their warfighting capacity here domestically. That's only going to grow. The Germans are building 4 weapons factories in the west of the country. They're putting out millions of drones a year, and that's only going to get bigger and bigger. Ukraine is not. You know, it always drives me nuts when Trump says that Zelensky doesn't have any cards. Well, I beg to differ. I think the Ukrainian army is probably the single best military on the European continent for sure, but has some capacities that even the United States is coming to here or is being educated by Ukrainians in Poland. Actually, there's a center where they're training U.S. Military on how to use drones and fight modern warfare.
Right.
This is an extremely strong military and is not by any means losing this war. They are losing territory. They are not getting the support that they need from the West, and in particular America, although Europe is stepping up. But at the end of the day, they are fighting off what was supposed to be, a 3-day invasion, and we're now well over 3 years into this thing. Don't underestimate the Ukrainians, never.
Yeah, for sure. You said that the Germans are building several weapons factories in the west part of that country. Which country were you referring to, Ukraine or Germany?
Ukraine.
Wow.
No, Ukraine. Rheinmetall, Germany's primary weapons manufacturer, is building 4 facilities here. One is going to be putting out infantry, high-tech, modern, state-of-the-art infantry fighting vehicles. One is going to be doing artillery rounds. One is doing explosives. And I think the 4th is putting out a tank.
When do they come online?
But There one will be, at least one is coming online this year. I believe a second one might just eke out at the very end of 25. And then the other 2, I believe, are going to be coming online in 26. And all the while, the Ukrainians themselves are building their own arms manufacturing industry. And it's going to be more than 40% of their required defense capability in no short order. So, we really should not see the Ukrainians as these poor, desperate, on their back foot kind of. These are strong people who are defending their country and are determined to continue to do so, even if they have to go it their own way. All that will mean is more Ukrainians will die, and they will not forget a betrayal the level of what Donald Trump seems to be putting together.
Is the rest of Europe, we just have 15 seconds, by the way, Phil, is the rest of Europe starting to arm up seriously? Are we seeing new factories being built and things?
100%. Not only that, not only are they increasing their industrial capability, but there's a lot of talk about increasing their own military capability. So that means more soldiers in training. Europe is waking up to the fact that if America is going to, duck out, that they're going to have to carry the weight, and Ukraine will be right there with them.
I get it. The great Phil Ittner. Phil, thank you again so much for coming on every week and keeping us up to date.
Sorry, I'm a little tired.
No,
Tom.
I get it. Stay safe, my friend. Stay safe.
All right. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. 18 minutes past the hour. I'll be back with you in just a second.